I think. Health and Human Services, let's start with the governor is proposing program cuts in the amount of $1.3 billion or 3% for 2009-10, and these will take effect July 1, 2009, unless otherwise stated. I have broken these down by functions for Health and Human Services, elections, law enforcement for 2008-09 impacts and 2009-10 impacts for your convenience so that you understand the impacts for both fiscal years for us. So for CalWorks, these are some major cuts for county pay performance and incentive programs. The impact to Mendocino County is the clients in this program receiving employment services, child care, and other services for children and parents with special needs. The Medi-Cal administration, the governor's plan is to suspend the statutory cost of living increase for the county administration of the Medi-Cal program. The suspension represents losses in benefits to adults and children, as well as the eligibility for qualifying immigrants who permanently reside. Eligibility will also be on a month-to-month basis for undocumented immigrants. This will generate a savings of $9.6 million in 2008-09.
We have a question here, Jennifer, Supervisor Council.
Excuse me, yes.
Excuse me, it may be more a question for County Council, but the issue of deferrals, a very brief update on our initiative to join the lawsuit that would question that.
There's a court hearing set for March 10th regarding the initial pleadings that have been filed, the writ of mandate, and then all counties are getting together and we're going to be doing a motion to intervene as a group. And at this point, until we go to court on the 10th, I don't have any further update as to what the judge is going to do with that.
And ideally, the eventual outcome would be that the courts would rule that the deferrals are illegal, but as the chair says, if the state has no money, what good does that do us?
What are they going to do, send you a bum check? It's really a lot to do out of nothing. Anyways, go ahead.
Okay. So where was I? Okay, so the Medi-Cal administration. The 2008-09 impact to Mendocino County is approximately $28,000 using a ratio calculations to all counties. It was a very difficult calculation out of our HHSA department to do, but this is an approximate. 2009-10 impact to Mendocino County is $12,000 using a ratio to all counties and loss of dollars to the clients of the county. In the Medi-Cal eligibility, this proposal plans to increase Medi-Cal share of cost requirements to the 2001 levels for the aged, blind, and disabled for a savings of $9.6 million in 2008 and $372 million in 2009. 2008-09 impacts to Mendocino County is again $28,000 using a ratio to all counties. For 2009-10, impacts to Mendocino County would be $1.1 million, rounding off, using a ratio to all counties in the loss of dollars to the clients of the county. So that is a large impact. Moving on, Medi-Cal check write delays. There's also a delay in payments there. Impact to the local providers and the hospitals that are already experiencing significant impacts with delays in reimbursement. Food assistance program, there's some impact there. It's approximately $1,667 per year per client to county general fund administration programs as a result of the loss of state funding for this program. And Mendocino County will receive low immigrants who have resided lawfully in Mendocino County for less than 5 years will not receive approximately $35,000 in food stamp benefits. It is unknown the loss of local businesses as food stamps recipients are not required to spend their benefits in the county. In-home support services, the impact to Mendocino County is the state participation in the IHSS provider wages from $12.10 to $8.60 per hour. This would be a $3.50 cut per hour to our HSS providers. Drug and alcohol realignment. This fund would support existing alcohol and drug programs effective July 1. He's proposing to increase the governor existing alcohol excise tax to fund a new alcohol prevention and treatment fund. And you will see, as I update a little bit more, that there's some changes in some of the ways that we're using funding. The governor is proposing to borrow funding from special funds to backfill for other funds, and this is just one of those. Mental health Prop 63. The impact to Mendocino County is shifting the managed care allocation with MHSA funds. There would be a shift of approximately $1.2 million from MHSA to backfill the managed care allocation that is approximately $1.2. This impact would be trading MHSA's flexible usage of the funding for simply paying a recurring bill. So that's it on the HSA, and again, all of these impacts are subject to change based on information as we know it. If the federal economic stimulus package passes down through the state, this may change some of the projections that we're showing here. Particularly right now, we're looking at maybe changes in IHSS and CalWORKS programs. So we'll have to come back to the board and update you some more on some of the impacts from that as it's passed along. And it also is important to state that we don't know when these funds will, the timing is important as to whether or not it would affect 2008-09, 2009-10, or beyond. So at this time, we don't know. Any questions before I continue? Okay. Elections, as CEO Tom Mitchell has stated, it is anticipated that there is going to be a special election on May 19th if this election is scheduled. It has been some language put into the legislation that at this time, the language includes reimbursement to counties. We'll see what happens as we go along here. That would be an impact of $200,000 for 2008-09. And if the reimbursement happens to come in 2009-10 fiscal year, we can accrue the revenue for 2008-09 if we have specific language that states that it's reimbursed, and show it for the 2008-09 to offset costs for 2008-09. In the public safety area, law and justice, at this time for 2008-09, rural and small county local assistance program. For 2008-09, we've already received the $500,000 that we anticipated for this fiscal year. And the impact to Mendocino County would be for 2009-10 is $500,000. What the governor is proposing at this point is to take most of the public safety programs and backfill them with VLF funds. This is a proposal that has to be voted on by the voters in May, then this could change. These impacts could change. At this time, he's projecting out that that the rural small law enforcement and COPS programs, the JJCPA, CalMet programs, juvenile probation, all of these will be backfilled with VLF fees. So moving on to the COPS program, the sheriff's budget receives about $200,000, including Point Arena funding, and the DA and the jail get $25,000 each. This funding for 2008-09 will be an impact to Mendocino County by $22,500 for the sheriff's budget, 2313 and 2510, and $2,500 in the DA's budget. For the 2009-10 budget, the impact to Mendocino County is a total increase of approximately $6,750. This is utilizing the VLF backfill funding for sheriff's budget 2310 and 2510 and the DA's budget. So it looks like the governor in some of this funding for the public safety programs is actually proposing to increase the funding as well. So that's why you do see some of the impacts in 2009-10 for public safety programs going up slightly. Juvenile Justice Crime Prevention Act, the 2008-09 impact to Mendocino County is a reduction of $26,000 in probation budget 2561. In 2009-10, the impact to Mendocino County is an increase of $7,000 in probation budget. In the CalMet budget, for CalMet funding, the governor proposes to reduce this grant by 41.67, or from a level of funding as enacted in the 2008-09 budget. Additionally, the governor's proposing to eliminate this grant for 2009-10. This will impact grant budget unit 0474. In 2008-09, the impact to Mendocino County is 55